Hello friends, welcome to Coding Shiksha. So today in this tutorial we will be building a CRUD application in node.js, Express and MongoDB. So these are the three technologies that we will be using in this project. So the project is shown below. This is the demo project that we will be building. So this is the URL from which you can insert records into your MongoDB database. So I have already created this MongoDB database employee DB. Inside this we have a table of employees. So inside this table we will be inserting entries. So let me just show you. I just enter something here, name, email. Let me write my email, and there are 4 fields. Mobile number, so I can just write a random mobile number, and city, let me Delhi. So if I just submit this, you will see that one entry has been successfully added, and this is route. We can see that employee/list and full name, email, mobile, city. So if I check the database, you will see that one entry has been successfully added. So let me just see. You can see that full name, email, city, mobile. So one entry has been successfully added. So in this way I can add some more entries. Let me write John here, john@email.com. Let me enter a mobile number here, again submit. So you will see that 2 entries have been added here. So if I refresh the database, you will also see second entry has been added here. So if I want to edit entry here, update, so I can just click the pencil icon and I can make changes here. So let me just name at let me manipulate the full name, and let me just submit it. So you will see that the full name has been successfully been updated. So this is the update functionality that we will be implementing. You can update any field. Let me change the mobile number to this one. So you will see that mobile number has changed here. Similarly, you can also delete entries by clicking this dustbin icon. So it will be prompting you that are you sure to delete this record. So if you press OK, so you will see that your entry has been gone. So if I refresh the database, only one entry will be there. So this is a delete operation. So we are creating the entries, updating it, deleting it, and also we are displaying it. So if I want to, let me create another one, email. Let me enter some random mobile number. So if I submit it, and again from this I can also see view all entries. So if I view all, it will be getting to this entry. So guys, we will be building this application from scratch. So let's start building it. Hello guys, let's start building the project here. So first of all, go to desktop and create a new directory, a new folder here. So let me just name it as CRUD node, something like this. So get into that folder and we will install some dependencies. So just open command prompt in the directory, and let me just show you the dependencies of this project. So first dependency will be body parser, in order to handle the request that is being sent by the user. So in order to handle requests, we need this body parser package. Second is email validator. Email validator will be validating the email address for us. Third will be express. Express will be our backend server. And this fourth library, which is express-handlebars, this will be a special library for building user interfaces that we have seen. So in order to build beautiful user interfaces, we will be using express-handlebars. Fifth will be Mongoose. Mongoose will be the library in order to connect the MongoDB. This is my database, in order to connect MongoDB and our node application. So Mongoose is a great library. And sixth is the dev dependency, nodemon. It will be restarting the server when we make any kind of changes. So we need not have to restart the server again and again. So let me just install these dependency. First of all, generate the package.json file by writing this command npm init-y. So this will generate the package.json file with the default values. Now let me just npm install first of all body parser. Secondly, we will install express email validator and express handlebars for making the user interfaces. And the last but not least, we have the Mongoose. Nodeman we will be installing later on. So let me just press enter. So this will take time. I'm not editing the video, so you have to stick with me. So this will not take much time, just 10 to 15 seconds, and it will install all the dependencies. So you will see that we are installing multiple dependencies at the same time by just pressing some, having a space between them. So this, it will just be storing in the package.json file all the dependencies. So just wait. So this totally depends upon your computer speed. So if you have a good computer, then it will not take much time. So you can see that it has installed all the dependencies for us. So now let me just open this folder in Visual Studio Code by pressing this command. So you will see that it will be generated the package.json file for us. This is the name of the project, version, description, main. Let me just replace this with server.js. This will be the starting point of our project. In this we will be initializing the express server, and let me install the node.mon dependency, npm install. This will be a dev dependency, so --save -dev and followed by node.mon. So this will install it. So in the background, let me just create the server.js file, create a new file, server.js. So in this, first of all, we will be importing express. So just make a new variable, express. So this will require express. Secondly, we will be getting the body parser as well. Body parser. For this application, we also need this path library, which is available in Node. So you need not have to install it. So just require path. We will be needing it in the later on in the application. And we will now be including express handlebars. So make a new variable, express handlebars. So this will require express handlebars. And now we will be initializing our app by creating a new variable app and calling this express function. Now we will be initializing our app.listen, and we will be specifying a port number 5000, and in the callback function we will be printing out in the console.log, that is server is listening on port, and we will be concatenating the port number, that is 5000. Sorry, we can just write here 5000. That's it. So now if I run the application, node.mon is successfully installed. So let me clear the screen, and let me now go to the package.json file and make a change here. Instead of test, write start here, and replace here node.mon. Just write here, delete all this, and write node.mon server.js. So if we write npm start, this will start the application for us. So let me write npm start. So this will start the application. So at port number 5000. So you will see here, you can see that server is listening on port 5000. Now if I open it in browser, you will see a error, that is cannot get slash, because we haven't configured a home route for our application. Now let's start configuring the route here. Configuring the route for home route, app.get. Get is a method, and we will be configuring for the home route. So this will take request response. This will be a callback function, arrow function, and in that we can just pass anything, response dot send hello world. So now if I refresh the browser, you will see that it is sending the response hello world. And in this way you can create a very basic express server. So now we need to configure some middleware. So we will write here configure middleware. We have imported here body parser and express handlebars. So now we will be configuring that. So first of all, I will be making use of this function app.use. So this is a very basic function in order to configure any middleware. So first of all, I will be configuring the body parser, and I will be calling this function URL encoded. In that I will be passing some properties. Instead of curly brackets, I will be passing extended to true. You need to write this in order for the body parser to work. And secondly, we will be importing the express handlebar. So basically this is kind of a UI building tool in express handlebar is kind of a UI library. With the help of this library you can create user interfaces, but for using it we need to include it. So now I can, first of all I need to include this line body parser .json. so it will be converting all the requests that is receiving into the application into JSON format. So it will be converting all the request data to JSON format. So that way our application will be easily be formatting this JSON data. So now after configuring the body parser, now we will be configuring the views, for our application, configuring the views of the application. So we just have to write here app.set, and in the curly brackets we will write here views, comma, and we will be using path.join function. This function, in the firstly we have included this path dependency, so in this we are using this path.join function here, and in this we will be using dir name and comma, and now we will be configuring the views. So /views/, so this line is meaning that we are setting the views in our views folder. So we will be creating a new folder called as views. So let me just create it. So this folder will be holding all the views of the application. So this line is generally meant by that. So just put a semicolon, and now we will be setting the engine. So app.engine, so this will be handlebars. So handlebar is shorthand notation is HPS handlebars, comma, and we will be using the express handlebars. So this is a variable that we have declared here early on. We have included the express handlebars. Now we are configuring it. So this function takes some options here in the curly brackets. So first is the extension name. Extension name is equal to, in the single quotes, HBS, which stands for handlebars. And the default layout, let me provide a default layout file. So let me call it as main layout. We will be creating this file later on, so let me just create it in the server.js. And last property will be the layouts directory, where will be our layouts be saved. So similarly we have defined the views directory. Now we will be defining the layouts directory. So we will again be using the dir name function, dir name plus, in the single quotes I will be defining the inside views, inside layouts. So inside the views folder we will be creating another folder called as layouts. So this will be containing all the layouts of the application. That's it. This line generally also after layouts put a slash. That's it. We have successfully configured the express handlebars middleware as well. So now the next line is very important line. We need to set app.set, and this will be in single quote view engine. We are setting the view engine with the HBS, that is handlebars. That's it. We have successfully configured the express handlebars. Now we can just define our layouts file in the layouts folder and include it. So that's it. So after defining the handlebars library, we are done with this section here. We have configured successfully our server.js. So now we will be defining, or we will be connecting our MongoDB database in our node application. So now we will be connecting the database, that is MongoDB database that I have created here, MongoDB Compass community. This is a kind of a graphical user interface for working with MongoDB. So you can just install it onto your computer, download from Google. Just type MongoDB Compass Community and just follow the instructions, next, and you will be able to run this server. So after installing this, you need to go to the home section here. You can see that I have successfully created this employee DB. You can see that you can create as many tables in your database, give a collection name, and then create it. So this is my collection employees inside this database employee DB. So now I will be connecting this. So in order to create a new database, you can just go to documents here. So let me just show you. Let me just close this. You can see that you can create a database from here, create your own database, and then create a table name. Tables are called as collections in MongoDB, and you can just create a database. So create a employee DB database, and inside this create a collection called as employees. So let me delete the previous entries. So the database now is empty here, so we will be inserting data into it. So first of all, we need to create a models folder inside this our project directory called as, just create this folder models. So inside this we will be creating a file called as db.js. So inside this models folder, let me create a file called as db.js. So inside this we will be first of all we importing the module called as mongoose. So just write mongoose and require, just pass here mongoose, and after that we need to hit the URL of the database. So the database of the MongoDB will be MongoDB ://localhost : and followed by the port number. So the default port number for MongoDB database on any machine is 27017. So in your machine also this port number will remain constant. So just write this comma slash followed by the database name. So in my case I have created this database called as employee DB. So just write this database name. So whichever database you create, you need to write your own database. So employee DB, that's it, semicolon. So after that we will be using the connect method of mongoose library. So just write mongoose.connect, and here I will pass my URL to which we want to connect to, and in the set of curly brackets we need to write this use new URL parser to true. This you need to write it, and after put a comma, and then it will be having a callback which will be containing an error. So if any kind of error take place, it will be stored inside this error variable. So this will be an arrow function. So first of all we will check if any kind of error is there. If no error is there, that is at the not symbol, this is not symbol. So if no error is there, we will be console log, in the console log, that is MongoDB connection is successful, something like this. So now in the else block, if any kind of error is there, we can also print that error, that is in the console.log, an error occurred in connecting MongoDB, and we can just concatenate the error variable err, that's it. So after that we need to just create a new file in this models directory. Create this new file called as employee.model.js. So in this we will be defining the employee schema. So what are the different kinds of fields that we will be storing in this? So we will be having 4 fields, that is first will be full name, second will be email, third will be mobile, and fourth will be city. So in order to define these entries, we need to create a thing called a schema. So schema in MongoDB is kind of a defining what kinds of fields you will be storing inside your database. So in this file we will be defining that. For that, first of all we need to import again mongoose, require mongoose, And secondly, we need to create a new variable called as employee schema. So this will contain all the fields. So new mongoose dot schema, this is a function schema in order to define the schema. So in the set of curly brackets we will define it. So first field will be full name, as I already told you. So full name, so this will be of type string, so type is equal to string. So in this way we can define our fields. So, comma, email will be again of type string, and we have the mobile will be again of type string, so type is equal to string. And last but not least, we have the city, this will be again of type string. That's it. So after defining these values, we need to create the model inside based upon this employee schema. So what we can do here is that we can use a function in a mongoose called as model, so mongoose.model, and in the we can call our model as employee. So you can define this anything you want, but I will highly suggest you that you define this like this, and we will be inserting our using the employee schema. That's it, comma. So we are defining employee here, and in our MongoDB we are creating this table employees. So basically we are defining the collection in a plural version of what we are defining here. So employee, and the table name is employees. But you can define anything you want, but I will be highly recommending that you just use this convention. So that's it, we have successfully defined our model. Now we just want to include it in our db.js so that we can use that model. So for that we can just include the employee model class here at the bottom. So we can just require it, require dot will be there in the parent folder / employee model. That's it. You don't want to write the .js extension, this is not required. So after creating this db.js, now we just want to include it in our server.js, this file db.js. So right at the top here we need to require in the models folder we have the db, this file, we just want to include it. And now if I restart the server here, so let me go to our server here. So you will see that server is listening on port 5000 and MongoDB connection is successful. So we have successfully connected to our database, and now we can just insert any kind of entry to it by first of all creating the user interface. So now we will be creating our user interface to create records. So after making the connection to MongoDB, the next job that we want to do is that we want to create a main layout handlebar file, which we have illustrated in the server.js. We have provided the default layout of our application to be main layout. So we need to create this file inside the layouts folder that we have already created. So go to layouts and type here main layout .hps. HPS stands for handlebar. So you can see the icon also appearing here, the orange color icon. So inside this file we will be populating the default styles for our application. So it will be a default HTML file. So let me give a title to it as node.js express MongoDB CRUD application, something like this. You can give any title of your choice. And after this we want to include the bootstrap CDN and the font awesome CDN. So just go to w3schools.com and grab the CDN and just paste it here. And also we also need the font awesome, so it will be required for the different kinds of fonts or different kinds of icons that you see in your application. So just after it, create a new link tag relative style sheet, so this will remain constant, and in the href paste the whole CDN. So that's it, this is there. So apart from that, we also need to create a custom style tag. Here we will be targeting HTML and body tags, and we will be attaching a height of 100%. That's it. And now we will be moving on to the body. So inside the body we will be creating our default styles, So we will be attaching a body, a class of bg info, which is a bootstrap class. So it will be making the blue, adding a certain kind of color, you will see later on. Inside this body we have a div which has a class of row h-100 horizontal 100 dash align items center. So this will be the class align item center. So these are all bootstrap classes. You don't have to learn anything, just type the same thing that I am typing. Inside this div we have a div, another div which has a class of call md6 and after that we will have the offset class, offset md3. md stands for medium. So these are all bootstrap responsive classes in order to make your application responsive. So just type these classes. Apart from that, we also want to give this div a custom style. So I will be having the margin from the left as 330 pixel. Also we will be attaching a background color to it as white, and some margin from the top position as well, 15 pixel, and some padding as well, that is 20 pixel. That's it. So inside this div we will be populating the child views that we will create here. Populate the child views. Let me write a sensible comment here. So we will just write here 3 curly brackets here, and inside this we will be populating the body. So this is a syntax of handlebars. So just write it here in 3 curly brackets, write here body. So that's it. This is the main layout.hps file. Now we will create a new folder called as employee inside the views folder. So create this folder here, new folder called as employee. So in this folder, employee will holds all the UI which will be responsible for creating the employee, updating the employee, displaying the employee, so all that stuff. So inside this we will be creating a file called as add or edit.hps handlebars once again. So inside this we will be having a h3 tag which will be receiving a dynamic title. Let me give it title, that is view title. This property we will pass when we configure routes, so you will see later on. So just write this here. After this we will be having the form in order to create the employee or update the employee. So this form will be having the action attribute. It will go to the /employee. So we will all configure when we configure routes, so you will be get to know about it. So the method will be post, so it will be a post request. And once one other attribute I will configure is autocomplete to off. So inside this form attribute we will be having our fields here. So first of all we have a div which has a class of form group. So this is again a bootstrap class in order to style our input fields. Inside this we will be providing the label here which will be full name first of all. So 4 fields will be there: full name, email, city and mobile. So this will be an input type of text, and a class of bootstrap I will give here form control, and a name attribute will be full name. So this name attribute will be required, so just type this name attribute as well, and a placeholder as well. So just write this placeholder full name. That's it. So now what I will do here is that I will copy paste this line 2 more times. So just copy here and paste, paste, paste. So the second label will be for email. So just replace here email. So the type for email will be email, not text. So this will be form control, name will be email. So just replace it here. And the placeholder value will also change to email. And the next will be, let me just delete this. We want to align them in the same row, so I will delete this. Instead I will create a new div which has a class of form row. So inside this we will be defining another div which has a form group class and a MD6 medium 6. So inside this div we will be having the label tag. I will be defining the mobile. So inside this label you want to write here mobile. After this we have the input tag. Input type will be text and the name will be mobile and the placeholder value will be mobile. That's it. So after this we will again create this same div which has a class of form group and MD6 class. Inside this we will be having a label. This time this will be city and input type will again be text, name will be city and placeholder will be city. So after defining this we will be having lastly a button to just submit the form. So just after this div we need to create another div which is having a class of form group. So inside this we will be having our button. So the type will be submit because we are submitting the form, and a class I will give for bootstrap, that is btn dash info. This is a bootstrap class. So inside this button we will be having our icon. So I stands for icon, so this is a tag here. So inside this tag we will be, it has a class of font awesome class fa dash database. So this is the icon that will be inserted dynamically into the button here, and the text that will be written onto the label of the button will be submit. That's it, you have to write it. And after defining this button, just after the closing tag of the button, you need to write this line here, href tag. In order to view all records, we will be having this href tag. So this has a class of btn danger. So after this anchor tag, inside this anchor tag, so just inside this we will be displaying our icon. So again this will be a I tag, so it will be having the font awesome class, that is fa list dash alt. So the text that will be written on the icon will be view all. So just after the closing of this I tag, just write here view all. That's it. So now our form is complete, guys. So now we just want to include this form in the server.js file so that we can display that form. Now if I go to the local host, my server is running here, you can see that. Now if I go to the browser and type localhost 5000/employee, it will not work because it is not getting that route. So now we just need to include this route here. So for that we will be creating a specific folder called as route controller, which will do that job for us. So just in the project directory contain create a new folder called as controller. So inside this controller folder we will be making a new file called as employee controller.js. employee controller.js. So inside this we will be first of all be importing the express module, require express, and secondly we will be importing we will be making a router variable express.router. we will be calling this function here express.router, and through the help of this function we can create a simple route router.get, and this will be having the route of employee. So this actually means here dash employee. You can see that this is making to this route here. So this slash is equivalent to slash employee. So when we open this route, we need to process this request of the user. So this will contain a callback function which will contain the request and the response. So we can just render out the file that we have created here, add or edit. So there is a function called as render. So inside this, in the single quote, we can pass here employee slash add or edit dot hps, and comma. After that, we will be providing some options here in the curly brackets, and we will be passing our view title that we have defined in the file here. So in this, we will be first of all be writing insert employee. After making this, we will be exporting this. So in order to export this controller, we will write here module.exports router. So we have successfully exported it. Now we will go back to the server.js and include this controller file. So make a new controller here, variable, let's suppose employee controller. So we will be requiring that. So just go to this folder controller slash employee controller. You need not have to write the extension of the file. It is automatically being included. Now just go at the bottom of this server.js file and use this file, that is through the help of this use method. So whenever the route is hidden here, that is slash employee, we will be using this employee controller. So now if I restart the server once again and go to this employee, so you will see that this form is being rendered out on the screen here. You can see that full name, email, mobile and city, and through the which you can submit the form, and also you can view all the details. So you can see that the form is not looking great. The two fields, that is full name and email, are looking great. In order to fix this, first of all, we need to go to the add or edit.hps file. So there you will see that in the input field of mobile and city, we haven't added the bootstrap class of form control. So first of all, add these classes, form control here, and similarly we need to add this to the city field also. So I just forgot to add it. So form control. So if I just refresh the application, you will see that it is aligning, the fields are looking great here of mobile and city. So now if I just have to give this form a fixed width, what can I do here is that I can go to the main layout file here. So there are the default styles for the form here. I can just have a property of width initialized to 520 pixel, and let me just change the margin dot length to margin from the left to 380 pixel. That's it. So now if I reload the form here, you will see that it is looking great now. It is aligning in the center. So now after that, we will be inserting the entries into the database, MongoDB database that is there. You can see that by entering some of the details. We will be fetching these details and making a post request to the route and storing these details into the database. So now in order to import or insert data into our MongoDB database, you can see that currently it is empty here. This is the employee DB database, and inside this we have the employees collection. So now in order to do that, we need to make a post request to the form that we have defined here. Once we insert the details in the form and click the submit button, let me show the form to you. The form is there in the add or edit.hps file. So you can see that it is, the action attribute is going to the slash employee, and this is a post request. So now we just want to go to the employee controller and invoke a post request, handle the post request. So we will be writing here router dot post. So this is a post method, and the URL will be dot slash, so which is equal to slash employee, and this will take again request response. So this will be arrow function, and now we will be creating a custom function to handle this. So let me name this as insert record. It will take request response. So now at the bottom we will be defining this function insert record. It will take request response as 2 arguments, and after this we need to include our these 2 lines of code we have to write here. Let me write it once again, as you don't have any kind of confusion. So first of all, we need to include the mongoose package, require mongoose, this package, and then we need to include the model class that we have created earlier on in the employee.model.js file. So we have invoked this, we have created this model class employee with the employee schema, that is full name, email, mobile, and city. Now we will be including it. In order to include it in the employee controller, we will be making a new variable of employee, and we will be using the mongoose.model method, and here I will be passing the employee model that we have created. That's it. So now in the insert record, we will be making a variable of this model class. So just make var employee is equal to new employee. So we will be creating a new instance of that model. So now what we can just insert values employee.fullname, and we can grab the request.body.fullname. That's it. So this will be grabbing the full name that is entered by the user and initializing it in the full name field. Similarly, what we can do employee.email, request.body.email, employee.mobile, request.body.mobile, and for the city it will be employee.city, request.body.city. That's it. Now after grabbing all the 4 entries, we will be using the save method of the mongoose package. It will be invoked on the model class. So we have this employee model class, we are invoking this save method. This will take a callback function of error and doc. So we will check firstly for the error. So if no error is there, so this is the condition. If not error, if no error is there, we will be redirecting the user to, by using this redirect method, to this URL, that is employee/list. So this will list all the employees that is created or inserted to the database, and else if any kind of error is there, we will be displaying that error in the console. So console log, and error is there in inserting the records, and we can just concatenate the error variable. That's it. So now we need to create this list variable in order to list it, but before that let me just check it if it is working or not. Just restart the server and just make some random entries here. Put a mobile number, city Delhi. If I submit it, you will see that it is saying to me that cannot get employee list. That I understand that we haven't configured this file. Let me just check the MongoDB if it is successfully inserted. You can see that it has successfully inserted one entry into the database, Gautam Sharma. You can see that email, mobile, city. If I try to enter some other entry, we can enter it. So in this case the validation is not there, so I can just enter any kind of data and submit it. So you can see that this much validation is there in the email field. So you can see that if I reload the MongoDB, you will see that 2 entries are added. So we are successfully been uh, submitting the details to the MongoDB database. So now we just want to make this list.hps file. So now we need to display the list of users to the user, how many users are created by and inserted into the MongoDB database. Currently there are 2 users. We need to display the list. So for that, let me show you. If I submit the form here, let me just go to the form here and write some random entries here and click on the submit button. Let me include email.com. Submit it. You will see that we haven't created this route here /list, so cannot get. You can see that the entry is added into the database. You can see that 4 entries had been added. So first of all, we need to get these entries. We need to create a route for displaying all the users. So now we will create that router.get, and the route will be /list. Slash is equal to /employee, so /employee/list. So this will be having the request and response. This will be arrow function. Simply we will be using the model object that we have created here. This is the model that we are using, that is created by the Mongoose library. So there is also a function called as find. It will fetch all the records which is inserted into the MongoDB database. Currently there are 5, so it will fetch all records. And this find method contains a callback again, error comma docs. So first of all, we will check for any kind of error. So this means that no error is there. So in that scenario, we can render out a file which we will create here. So the path of the file will be employee/list. That's it. And the next parameter that I will give here is that put a comma here, and in the curly brackets we will define a new variable called as list, and we will be passing the docs. So this docs variable contain all the records which is there in the MongoDB database. We are passing this list variable to this list file that we will create here. So basically just go to the views folder and go to the employee here and create this file. Let me just delete this. You will see one file that we have created, that is add or edit. Now in the employee folder, create a new file called as list.hps. hps stands for handlebars. So this file will contain all the users which are contained inside it. So now let me just write anything at hello world, simply to check it here. And now if I submit anything, it will open that file for me. Submit. So now you can see that it is opening that file that we have defined here in the render function, list.hps. You can see that we are rendering this file, and now we just want to display all the users inside it. So first of all, we will be having a h3 heading. Inside this we will be having a anchor tag which will take users to the previous page. So let me just show you. Href will be /employee in order to create another form. So this anchor tag will contain a symbol here, a icon. So we can just put an icon with the help of this I tag, which will be having a class of font awesome, which is shorthand for FA plus. So after the closing of the I tag, just write here create new. That's it. So now if I reload the page here, so you will see that create new will redirect to user to this here. You can see that. If I press view all, again press the submit, put an entry here, email.com mobile, and submit. You will see that entry appearing here. So now what we want here is that go back to the list here. After the anchor tag close, we will be writing the employee list in the h3 element. Now if I reload it once again, you will see that it will display all the employees to us in the h3 tag. So after this h3 tag, we will be defining the table here, and I will be giving a table a class of table dot table striped. So this will be a bootstrap class. So inside this table we will be having a table heading, and inside this we will be having a table row, and we will define some table heading here. First will be full name, second will be email, thirdly we will be having another table heading which will be of mobile. Lastly we will be having city. That's it. And also we will be having one other table heading which is empty. So after table head close, we will be defining the table body. So inside the table body we will be fetching all the records and displaying it. So this is very important. In handlebars we will be defining a loop in double curly brackets, and I will write here pound symbol each, and I will use the list variable that I have passed in the employee controller. You can see that we have passed this list variable which is holding all the records which is stored in the MongoDB database. Basically this is an array, so that is why we are using this each loop here which is there in the handlebar. So similarly we need to close it as well, close that each tag also by this. So inside this we will be displaying our records here. So first of all we will be having table row. So inside this table row I will be defining the table data tag, and in double curly brackets I will write here this dot full name in order to display the full name. So now if I refresh the application, you will see that I am displaying in the full name field here all the full names. Gautam Sharma, this is the email, mobile and city. You can see that. So just wait, I am completing this application here. Similarly I will write here td, again td, this dot email, td again, this dot mobile, and lastly we will be having this dot city. That's it. So now if I reload it, you will see that all the entries have been populated. You can see that full name, email, mobile and city. And lastly we want an anchor tag just after this. We will be populating inside this td here. So inside this td we will be having a anchor tag. href will be empty now, but we will be manipulating later on. So inside this anchor tag we will be displaying another icon with the help of this I tag, which will be having a class of again font awesome fa dash pencil icon, pencil, and also attach this class also falg. And one other attribute I will assign to it, area hidden to true. That's it. And after this we will be having another anchor tag just like this in order to delete it. So this pencil icon will allow users to update the record, and the next entry will allow users to delete the record. So this is again an I tag which we are having the class of fa dash trash and falg. So also we will be defining this area hidden tag, attribute area hidden to true. So after this close the tag here. So now our form is complete, guys. So now let me just refresh this. So you will see that the pencil icon is appearing here. It is not looking great. Now let me just fix it. So let me just fix this. It is not looking great. You can see that the form is not rendering properly. So now let me just see here. So now just go to the main layout.hps file. So this is the main layout, the default styles, and let me just change the width to 680 pixel here to make more width to the form here. So you can see that it is styling properly now. Now the trash symbol is not appearing here, right to the pencil icon. So here I will go into the list.hps file. So I have committed a mistake here. You can see that this dash is not there. So just remove this dash and press a space and then refresh your application. Then you will see the dustbin icon as well. You can see that. So you can see that our form is ready. It is displaying it. Now we will be updating the form as well as deleting the entries. So now we will be configuring a validation error such that we don't want the user to submit the form without adding any kind of entry to the form. That is, if I click submit here, what will happen here? An empty entry will be created. So that's I don't want. You can see that if I refresh the database, a entry has been added with empty fields here. So that I don't want. I want to add a validation so that user can't submit a empty form. So for that I can go back to the editor here, and just before you submit your details, by calling the save method, I will be checking for validation, and I will be having a if condition, if employee.full name is empty or employee.email is empty or employee.city is empty. We will check all the fields here which are present in the form, and lastly employee.mobile is empty. So in either of the cases we don't want the user to submit the form, so we can just render out the template here which is there in the employee folder / add or edit, and the second argument will be the bunch of options that we can pass here. First option will be view title. I can just, that is, insert employee. This will be constant. The second argument that I will be passing is the error, the actual error. I can just write here, enter all the details, and the third argument I will pass here is the employee variable. This will be equal to request.body. That's it. Now I will go back to, and also I will write just after it return statement to prevent execution of this code, so it will be not be executing this save function. That's it. Now I just want to embed this error variable in the add or edit handlebars file. So just after before the heading, I can just print it by having a div which has a class of alert danger, which is a bootstrap class, and in the double curly brackets I can just write here error variable. So this will actually be writing the actual error. Now if I submit the form without entering each of these fields, if I click submit here, you will see that the error is popping in, enter all the details, and the database entry is also being prevented. So that's the behavior that I want in my application. And also I want to if I hit this view all button, I want to go to this route, that is I want to list out all the employees. So for that I will go back to my add or edit handlebar files. Just after this view all button, I will be manipulating the attribute to employee/list. That's it. Now if I refresh the application and go back to the form and click view all, you will see that it is redirecting me to the employee list route, and through this route you can insert employees. So now we will be adding some more validation rules on this two fields, that is full name and email, so that the user must enter a valid email address and user must enter the full name. So let's start implementing this. So now we will be handling the validation for the full name field and the email field, such that we want the user to enter a valid email address and also enter a valid full name. So for that, just go to your employee.model.js file, and right at the top we need to include a package that we have initially installed, which was email validator. That's it. So just call it validator, and I will be including this package email validator. That's it. And now whenever you define this full name field, just add another entry which is of required and initialize it to true. That's it. You could also do that for mobile and city, but I will not be doing that. I will be only be doing for full name. And right at the bottom you need to write this line here, employees comma, we will be calling a path function, and in that path write email. We want the validation for the email field, and after that we will be calling this validate function dot validate, and I will pass the value that is val, and this will be arrow function. So this value will contain the actual email address that is being written by the user, and it will be tested by this validate function. And now we will be return validator dot validate. We want, this is a function in this package which validates the email address and pass the actual value that is entered by the user, so semicolon. So if any kind of error is there, you need to print this error. Just after this curly brace, write comma here and write your actual error. Let's write my error as invalid email. That's it. So if the user has written a invalid email, we will be printing this error, invalid email. That's it. So now you need to handle this in your employee controller.js. So whenever we are saving our documents, if any error take place in the else block, we are printing the error in the console. So we don't want that. We want to actually handle this error. So we will be having a if block. We will check here if error dot name is equal to, and there is a, this is equal to validation error. So this is a kind of error which is there in Node. So you just have to name this validation error. Don't be naming anything else. So if this is the case, first of all we will be calling this custom function handle validation error. We will be creating this function. After this, it takes first argument as the actual error which has happened, and second will be request.body. That's it. So now we will be making this function to handle errors. So just right at the bottom we will write here handle validation error. First will be the error and second will be the request, you can see, or we can see body, anything you can. And first of all we will be writing a for loop, and in that we will be writing field in error dot errors. You just want to write the same sentences that I am writing here, and inside this loop we will be having a switch case, and we will be checking for the errors here, error dot errors, and this will be field dot path. So the first case that we will be checking for the full name. So the error is come in the full name field. We need to handle this as we will be manipulating the body, and we will be writing full name error, and we will be initializing it to this, that is error dot errors, and that is field dot message. That's it. And after that just we want to break it, and we will be checking for another case. Two cases are there, full name and email. So this is the second case. If the error has taken place in the body field, we will be writing here body email error. So we will be initializing it to the same sentence, that is error dot errors field dot path. That's it. or sorry, message, and again break. And we will also be having a default case, default. And for the default case, we don't want to write case here, just we want default here. And for the default case, we will just break. We will not do anything, just break here, break it. That's it. So we are done with this function handle validation error. So now go back to the, you can see that, go back to this area here, and after that we need to render a template here. So we will again use the rest.render method to call the template. So we will again call this template employee/add or edit that we have created. And the second argument will be the bunch of options that we want to pass. First will be the view title. View title will be equal to insert employee again. And the second argument will be the actual employee object I will pass here, which will be equal to request.body. That's it. So now we need to go back to the add or edit.hps file, that is handlebars, in order to actually embed the errors. So for that we can first of all make a, after this input field, in the full name and email fields here, you can see that. Let me just show you. Inside this, just write div with a text danger class. So inside this text and danger class, I will be populating in the double curly brackets. I will just write here employee dot email. Sorry, I will not write employee. This will be employee dot full name error, because we are embedding the errors here. So full name error, the same variable that we have defined here in the employee controller here. Let me just show you. You can see that full name error, we are just embedding that error here. And similarly I will do for this email also. Just after the input field, I will write here div.textDanger. So inside this I will write in double curly brackets employee dash email error. That's it. So now if I go back to the browser here and reload the application, and if I enter, let's suppose, this email address, mind you this is an invalid email address. Let me just submit the form. So you will see that a error is popping in that this is a invalid email. You want to write a valid email. And also if I write a valid email and also write mobile and city, and we left the full name field and submit the form, so you will see that it is popping that enter all the details. So we have completed the validation here, guys. And one more thing that I want to do is that I want to put the value fields here in the input boxes. So I will be just be creating a value here. So I will be populating here employee dot full name, full name. So similarly I will be doing this for the email also. Value is equal to employee dash email dot email. And for the mobile, value is equal to double curly brackets employee dot mobile. And for the city also, so right here value double curly brackets employee dot city. So that's it, guys. So now if I refresh this and refresh the application, so you will see that if I enter something wrong here, if I enter the email wrong here, and all the entries have been entered here, if I click submit here, you will see that the entries will not go, all the entries will be there, and the error message will also get printed. So you just have to correct the details here and you don't want to enter the details again and again. So just submit it and you will be seeing your entry here. And now the thing remain, guys, in the application, CRUD application, the two operations are remaining. If we click the pencil icon, we want to update the entries, and if I click the dustbin icon, we want to delete the individual entry. So two operations are remaining, so just we are implementing this. So now we will be handling the validation for the full name field and the email field, such that we want the user to enter a valid email address and also enter a valid full name. So for that, just go to your employee.model.js file, and right at the top we need to include a package that we have initially installed, which was email validator. That's it. So just call it validator, and I will be including this package email validator. That's it. And now whenever you define this full name field, just add another entry which is of required and initialize it to true. That's it. You could also do that for mobile and city, but I will not be doing that. I will be only be doing for full name. And right at the bottom you need to write this line here, employees comma, we will be calling a path function, and in that path write email. We want the validation for the email field, and after that we will be calling this validate function dot validate, and I will pass the value that is val, and this will be arrow function. So this value will contain the actual email address that is being written by the user, and it will be tested by this validate function. And now we will be return validator dot validate. We want, this is a function in this package which validates the email address and pass the actual value that is entered by the user. So semicolon. So if any kind of error is there, you need to print this error. Just after this curly brace, write comma here and write your actual error. Let's write my error as invalid email. That's it. So if the user has written a invalid email, we will be printing this error, invalid email. That's it. So now you need to handle this in your employee controller.js. So whenever we are saving our documents, if any error take place, in the else block we are printing the error in the console. So we don't want that. We want to actually handle this error. So we will be having a if block. We will check here if error dot name is equal to, and there is a, this is equal to validation error. So this is a kind of error which is there in Node. So you just have to name this validation error. Don't be naming anything else. So if this is the case, first of all we will be calling this custom function handle validation error. We will be creating this function. After this, it takes first argument as the actual error which has happened, and second will be request.body. That's it. So now we will be making this function to handle errors. So just right at the bottom we will write here handle validation error. First will be the error and second will be the request, you can see, or we can see body, anything you can. And first of all we will be writing a for loop, and in that we will writing field in error dot errors. You just want to write the same sentences that I am writing here, and inside this loop we will be having a switch case, and we will be checking for the errors here, error dot errors, and this will be field dot path. So the first case that we will be checking for the full name. So the error is come in the full name field. We need to handle this as we will be manipulating the body and we will be writing full name error, and we will be initializing it to this, that is error dot errors, and that is field dot message. That's it. And after that, just we want to break it, and we will be checking for another case. Two cases are there, full name and email. So this is the second case. If the error has taken place in the body field, we will be writing here body email error. So we will be initializing it to the same sentence, that is error dot errors field dot path. That's it. Oh sorry, message. And again break, and we will also be having a default case, default, and for the default case we don't want to write case here, just we want default here. And for the default case we will just break, we will not do anything, just break here, break it. That's it. So we are done with this function handle validation error. So now go back to the, you can see that, go back to this area here, and after that we need to render a template here. So we will again use the rest.render method to call the template. So we will again call this template employee slash add or edit that we have created, and the second argument will be the bunch of options that we want to pass. First will be the view title. View title will be equal to insert employee again, and the second argument will be the actual employee object I will pass here, which will be equal to request.body. That's it. So now we need to go back to the add or edit.hps file, that is handlebars, in order to actually embed the errors. So for that we can first of all make a, after this input field in the full name and email fields here, you can see that. Let me just show you. Inside this, just write div with a text danger class. So inside this text and danger class I will be populating in the double curly brackets, I will just write here employee dot email. Sorry, I will not write employee, this will be employee dot full name error, because we are embedding the errors here. So full name error, the same variable that we have defined here in the employee controller here. Let me just show you. You can see that full name error, we are just embedding that error here. And similarly I will do for this email also. Just after the input field I will write here div.text danger. So inside this I will write in double curly brackets employee dash email error. That's it. So now if I go back to the browser here and reload the application, and if I enter, let's suppose this email address, mind you this is an invalid email address, let me just submit the form. So you will see that a error is popping in that this is a invalid email, you want to write a valid email. And also if I write a valid email and also write mobile and city, and we left the full name field and submit the form, so you will see that it is popping that enter all the details. So we have completed the validation here guys. And one more thing that I want to do is that I want to put the value fields here in the input boxes. So I will be just be creating a value here. So I will be populating here employee dot full name full name. So similarly I will be doing this for the email also. Value is equal to employee dash email dot email, and for the mobile value is equal to double curly brackets employee dot mobile, and for the city also. So right here value double curly brackets employee dot city. So that's it guys. So now if I refresh this and refresh the application, so you will see that the if I enter something wrong here, if I enter the email wrong here, and all the entries have been entered here, if I click submit here, you will see that the entries will not go, all the entries will be there, and the error message will also get printed. So you just have to correct the details here, and you don't want to enter the details again and again. So just submit it and you will be seeing your entry here. And now the thing remain guys, in the application CRUD application, the two operations are remaining. If we click the pencil icon, we want to update the entries, and if I click the dustbin icon, we want to delete the individual entry. So two operations are remaining, so just we are implementing this. So now we will be implementing the updating functionality on this CRUD application. If I click the pencil icon, I want to update the fields that is there inside it, any of the fields. So for that, just go to the editor here, and first of all we need to add a field in our add or edit handlebar files here. So first of all, after defining the form here, just after it, we will be having if input field which will be of type hidden. It will not be shown to the user, but it will contain a value input type hidden here, and we will be giving a name attribute to it which is called as ID. So basically when we insert data into the MongoDB database, you can see that every record has a unique ID attached to it. So with the help of this ID, we will be fetching or we will be updating the records, and also we will be deleting each record. So in MySQL database it is called as primary key, but in Mongo it is called as ID. So after this we will be attaching the value is equal to employee dot underscore ID, that's it, and close the input field. So now we have successfully enabled this hidden field, which will make sure that it stores the ID value. So now let's go back to the employee controller.js, and now we can simply check if this ID field is set or not in our post function. So whenever we post a form, we want to just check. I just want to write a comment here, just check if this post is for the creation of the record or the updation. So for checking it, we will be making sure of this ID field. So I will be writing a if condition here, that is request dot body dot underscore ID. We will check for this field. If it set to empty, if it is empty, then we surely know that it is for the insert record. So we can just call this function insert record by having this request response. But if this entry is filled, if this entry ID is filled, then we know that the user is existed in the database, and this post operation is for the updation. So we will write here else, and in the else block we will be making a new function, that is update record, which will take the same request and response, 2 parameters. So that's it. You just want to make sure that you make changes in this. So we are just checking the body ID variable here, ID variable in the database. If it is set, then we will call the update record function. If it is not set, then we will be calling this insert record function. So now we will be creating this update record function here. So just after, right at the bottom here, just create this function update record. It will be containing the request and the response variables, and the first thing we will be calling is the function which is there in the MongoDB called as find one and update. This is the function find one and update. So we are calling this on our employee model class. So the first argument it takes is the actual ID. So we will provide here ID field. ID is equal to, we will get the ID by request.body._id. That's it. The second parameter it takes is the request.body, the actual data that you want to replace it to. The third parameter it takes is new is equal to true. You just want to write this new is equal to true. And the fourth one is the callback function error comma doc. So this will be arrow function, so it will contain the actual error or the updated documents. So now first of all we need to check for the error. If no error is there, so in that scenario, if not error, so in that scenario we just want to redirect the user to another page, that is response.redirect. So we will be redirecting the page to employee/list, that's it, and semicolon, that's it. So now if a error is there, if any error is there, we need to check for that also. So if any error is there, first of all we will check for the error again that we have checked in the previous step, that is error.name is equal to validation error. So if the error is validation error, so we will be handling it by calling the handle validation error, which we have created in the previous step. So it will take the actual error and request.body parameters, that's it. And after that we will be rendering the template, which is employee/add or edit, and the second parameter will be the set of options. View title will be, in this case, will be update employee, not create employee. And the second argument will be the actual employee. So employee will be request body, that's it. So we have handled a validation error. So if there is some more error in the else block, we will write here, if we will just print this error, console log, we will just write here error occurred in updating the records, and we will concatenate the actual error which has happened, that's it. So the last thing that we want to do is that we just want to make a route such that when we make this request, that is post request of the form, we need to have a get request also, which takes a particular ID number. So let me just first of all go to the list.hps file here. So in this you just need to manipulate the href parameter. So for that I will just write here employee slash the actual ID that you want to do for. So the ID will be accessible by this employee, or no, sorry, this dot underscore ID, that's it. So we will be manipulating this href here, employee slash ID. So for this we need to create a get route in our controller.js file. So we will write here, just after this we will say that router.get, as this is a get request, and this will be at the route called as slash underscore ID. So it will be receiving a dynamic ID, whichever element do you want to update has a specific ID attached to it. So that specific ID will be there inside this URL. And the second argument is a callback function which receives request and response. This is the arrow function, and we will be using the employee.find by ID method, and we will be, in this function it takes the first of all the ID, which will be accessible by request.params.id. The second argument is the callback function, that is which takes error and the actual doc. This is a arrow function, and in that arrow function first of all we will check for the error once again. If no error is present, that is not symbol, not error. So we will simply be rendering this template, that is response.render, this template, that is employee slash add or edit. This will be the form, and the second will be the set of parameters that you want to pass. View title will be update form, update employee, and the second parameter will be the actual employee, which will be equal to the doc. You can see that. That's it. So now if I go to the application once again and click on view all, so if I just wanted to update this entry, if I click the pencil icon, you will see that it is saying to me that cannot get. So I have committed a mistake here. Let me see here. Go back to the add or list.hps. So here I just want to replace the slash here. So just write here slash, and if I go back to it and refresh the application and click the pencil icon, so you will see that a update employee form has been generated with the pre-filled entries. So you can just edit one of the entries, whatever entry do you want. So like I just be changing the email address to this, and if you click the submit button, so it should be replacing your email address. So you can see that it has successfully changed the email address. Now if I want to edit the full name of this second field, I can just click the pencil icon and click it. I can just write John here and click submit here. So you will see that the full name has changed to John. So in this way we have successfully implemented the update functionality. Now last but not the least, only functionality which is there, if I hit the dustbin icon, I want to delete this individual entry and wipe this entry from the database as well. So we will be implementing this functionality right now. So the last operation that we will be implementing here is the delete operation. If we click the dustbin icon here, I want to delete each of the individual entries here. So go back to the editor here, and now go back to the list.handlebar files, and now we will be manipulating this href attribute, and instead we will write here slash employee slash, again we will create another route of slash delete slash, in the double curly brackets I will write there this underscore id. So we will be deleting the records by the actual id number that is attached to it in the database. You can see that. And as this is a delete operation, we also want to allow users a second chance. We will be prompting users to confirm that they want to delete the record by attaching this on click attribute. So in that I will be just be writing here return, and there is a confirm dialog box which will be appearing. So this is this confirm dialog box which contain that are you, so in the single quotes, are you confirm to delete this record, just like that, delete this record, and after that just put a semicolon here. That's it. So you can see that the anchor tag is closed here, so we just need to check it. So this will be making sure that it will asking the user to second number of time that if you want to delete the record as well. So if I click the dustbin icon here, so it will be asking for the route here that we haven't created. So now we will create that route. So just go to the employee controller, and just after it write this route here. So this will be router dot get, as this is a get request. So this will be slash delete slash colon id. So we will be inserting dynamic id as well in this operation. So second argument will be the request comma response. This is a arrow function, And there is a method in MongoDB in order to delete the record. Employee dot find by ID and delete, or find by ID and remove. I will use this function. The first parameter is it receives is the actual ID, so I will pass here request.params.id, so it will get the specific ID of the element that you want to delete, and the second argument will be the callback function, which will hold the actual error and the resulted document. So this will be arrow function once again. And first of all, if we check if no error is there, not symbol, we will redirect the user by using this redirect method here to this list route here, /employee/list, and semicolon. And if any kind of error is there in the else block, we will console log that error, and error occurred during the delete operation. So that's it, and we will also concatenate the actual error which has happened. That's it guys, the application is complete now. So now if I reload the application, if I click the dustbin icon here, so you will see that it is removing the entries here. You can see that it is removing the entries. So we have successfully created this form guys. Let me check that this confirm dialog is not appearing. Let me check what is the problem here. A simple typing mistake has happened in this on-click event listener. You can see that. Let me just delete this record. So after this you need to have a question mark, and after that put this single quotes and this parentheses and semicolon, and remove this angular bracket from this. So you can see that this is the correct form of this confirm box. Now if I reload the application, it will work. So if I reload the application and click this dustbin icon, you can see that it is prompting me that are you confirmed to delete this record. If I click OK, it will delete the record. If I want to create a new record, I can just put out the entries here. So this is the real demo of the application. Enter any mobile number, submit. You will see that we have successfully added entry, and if I refresh the database, one entry has been added. If I try to click the pencil icon, update it, let's suppose change this to this, submit, you will see that it is updated. And if I want to delete this by pressing this dustbin icon, are you confirm, click OK, you can see that. So we have completed this CRUD application in node.js, Express and MongoDB. So thanks very much for watching this video. If you like this video, then please hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe the channel, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Until then, thank you very much. A simple typing mistake has happened in this on-click event listener. You can see that. Let me just delete this record. So after this you need to have a question mark, and after that put this single quotes and this parentheses and semicolon, and remove this angular bracket from this. So you can see that this is the correct form of this confirm box. Now if I reload the application, it will work. So if I reload the application and click this dustbin icon, you can see that it is prompting me that are you confirmed to delete this record. If I click OK, it will delete the record. If I want to create a new record, I can just put out the entries here. So this is the real demo of the application. Enter any mobile number, submit. You will see that we have successfully added entry, and if I refresh the database, one entry has been added. If I try to click the pencil icon, update it, let's suppose change this to this, submit, you will see that it is updated. And if I want to delete this by pressing this dustbin icon. Are you confirm? Click OK. You can see that. So we have completed this CRUD application in node.js, Express and MongoDB. So thanks very much for watching this video. If you like this video, then please hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe the channel, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Until then, thank you very much.